So we're gonna have to reverse the picture or whatever. And we're gonna.
So this bloke from the business farm by home, he was all ready to go to work. I haven't seen him for ages because he's worked for different shifts. Anyways,
Oh, is it the next time to speak? It's not moving. Settings.
So I said to him, "Oh, okay. So you've been."
I'm having trouble. So we're launching the Zoom meeting, then we can invite people.
Okay.
Where's the invite? So then you can send an invite to you.
Okay.
Where's
All right.
Where's you know where the
Because I've got a
invite
few
is?
people that want to go on. So,
General
so I
chat
said, "Oh,
meeting.
obviously, put it in there.
Yes,
tomorrow,
it is. That was the camera. Hang on a minute. Photocopy link.
I'm arriving at my
Photocopy.
bus stop.
Right.
2 or 3 minutes early. I don't have that many pickups, and I've got to sit and wait so that I don't get to the next stop way before I'm supposed to. He said there's hardly anybody in the city. Dead set.
So you're just going to send me it in a
So I
minute,
said,
eh?
maybe,
That's what I'm trying to
maybe
do.
they're voting with their feet. He said, or he said they've decided that they're better off. But,
The link is on Telegram.
He doesn't have to, I think. It'd be just-
I just love the fact that
Yeah, contacts. Yeah, oh yeah. External contacts. Where did we share? Where did we share? It's gotta be on the bottom. Send invitation. Yeah, that's it. Copy, check record. Yeah, you make the orders and send. Yeah, I will. And I've got to see, I don't actually have Facebook on my phone. I'll have to actually go in there. Like I don't have the app on my phone. Yeah, but I can copy the clipboard.
And I'll check that from. Well, snacks and stuff to do.
All right.
Oh, they got some. Yeah, I'm just coming out too.
All right, I've posted it to my page. Can you?
I just want to look up. I'll look like it. Thank you.
You have mitts? Yeah. Paste. I don't know what it's saying there. Post. Oh, that's right. Because I can't post for 3 days, but I can message. That's right. Because I've been barred from posting. Message. Yeah. It's all right. Oh, yeah. So I did post it earlier to Facebook. It is posted to the Caboolture CLA page on Facebook. If you can go to that page and share it, you can do it a lot quicker. It's already there. The Caboolture notice board, like Caboolture Common Law Assembly notice board. Yeah. It's already up there. So this is all shitting me. Because I don't have Facebook on my phone. Recording right there. I'm like it too, eh? So I'm installing Messenger now for the first time ever.
Caboolture common law.
Yeah. No, Caboolture, yeah. Caboolture CLA, capital CLA, like Common Law Assembly. Yeah, notice board. Yeah. I thought it was somewhere else. Notice board. Yeah. See, it has limited me as being barred, otherwise I would have shared. Yeah, that's the one, I think. Okay. Is that the one? No, go back. No, that's not the one. Caboolture is go back. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Caboolture CLA. Yeah. No. But I mean, like, I've made a post with the link. I've posted the link like the same way I did in Telegram. All right, I can open this. Yeah, I'll get it.
Everything is perfect time. Trust.
Yeah, I do. No, please. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, John, this one.
Yeah, that'll be. Sure. Cedric's meeting.
So that's
Meeting ID. Yeah, it's the one. It's the one. It's the one. Yeah, it's the one. So now, typical. This Facebook's for years been wanting to get on my fucking phone. I've never done it before. So I've resisted. Yeah. All right, so it's on there, bro. I think you're finished there. I think too.
set up your phone.
Yep. I was going to close some of these apps, otherwise it's shooting your battery. Yeah, that's good.
Do you have the charger?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Short cord. All right, so is the meeting still on? Click on there. Back to meeting. We don't know how to turn the camera around.
We can be like that.
I'll just
Go back to the meeting.
set up my camera for a second. Yeah, like a flipping camera.
It should be on. It should be somewhere.
Yeah. It's unmuted now. It's been muted for you. Like you say, we can just put it the other way. It's weird. Let's have a look. Right.
How do you go back to it?
There. Yeah. Back. Strange one. Oh, look at that. There you go. Do that to be informed. Sure. Well done. Oh yeah, look. I know. It's pretty rich. Meeting settings.
Did you want to mention at some point Because obviously everyone has sat down. The gold, put the bag down in the corner. If anyone's put the gold coin donation
Ah,
into
yeah.
the shop, so at least then
Yeah.
get your costs covered.
Do you know how to, how do you know how to flip? Oh, here, got it.
Oh, you got it finally. Well done.
Okay. Oh, we've got to admit them. Got to admit them.
Oh,
So
good one.
as you go, we've got to admit them all.
We need someone here on the job. I'll get
So someone needs to be doing that. Admit them.
I'll get
And maybe what was that announcement from what was that? Restrict. What? Well, why? So what's that one? Oh. Was that the picture? That's not the two.
No, it can't be. Must be the camera. No, we want camera.
Have we
Sorry.
closed this?
Yeah. The camera.
Yeah. So I pressed I did like that before. And more. Where do we go again? No, we just $3.
Oh no.
So leave it at that, but how do you see where the others are?
No, I've never.
Participate.
Yeah.
But how do you minimize that? People. No, we need to go. How do you minimize that? Because you're going
I know what you're
to have to
saying. Yeah,
invite other people in.
I understand. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. It's on the side. They're on the side. Here we go. Look. Yeah, it's on the side. Cut it. Okay, Deb, can you come up? No. Yeah.
Yeah, trust me.
Alrighty, guys, we're just about starting. How's it sound? Is it a bit too loud? Or is that okay? It's good? All right. So if there's anyone outside, please come in. Come and join us inside. One voice. Right, let's start. I'm gonna put this close to my mouth so you can hear me better. So good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Good to see you guys. It's good to be here. Now, this was organized very quickly. because we need to support each other, right? This is your, I'd like to welcome you to your health and well-being retreat. It is very much like that. Seriously. Before I start, my name is Cedric, and I'll be your MC tonight. A little bit about myself. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for 29 years. And the mandate is not my thing, right? My body is sacred. And so, therefore, I'm on the edge to transform into something else. It doesn't mean that I will lose my job. At the end, whatever is transforming will have some money. Yes, right? Am I going to die tomorrow? No, I'll be okay. Will I get support? Yeah, I'll get support. I've got plenty of support. I've got you guys. We've got to support each other. Okay? So this is your health and well-being retreat. It's not the retreat as, like we've got a retreat. It's more like we got to empty out, right? Because at the moment, there's a lot of things that's happening that draws you down into the judgment, anxiety, doubt, fear, and all the rest. How do we move on from that? And you guys know the truth, and you are well informed, and have chosen what is right for you. Now we want to create a better world. Okay? We want to change. The question I ask myself is, how can I empower myself to follow the path I'm meant to follow? My purpose. Me being here tonight is no coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. Every step that I've gone through to the now is perfect. And I always recenter myself, because if I go in there, I'm going to go crazy, right? Deeper. I like to play a bit of ditch with the sound here to ground ourselves. And then I will acknowledge the traditional custodian of this land. So listen to the ditch playing, and as you listen to the ditch playing, I want you to ground yourself, earth yourself to Mother Earth. It's so important to do that. And I'm going to be aware also of the volume. I'll invite you also to close your eyes, maybe. To allow this vibrate through you. Like roots of trees. Allow that to go through your feet right now. Right now to Mother Earth. Okay, so I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodian of the land, on which we gather this evening and pay my respect, and we pay all our respect to their elders, past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And now I'm inviting you now to acknowledge all of your ancestors. And energetically invite them here right now in the soul to guide and support us. Remember when you were a kid, your mum and dad were telling you a story about the old days, the fables and moral stories that has been passed on from generation to generation, which now we don't do anymore. Because at times we're too busy with work, too busy with technology. And so bring that back. To be able to call upon our ancestors and to have a clear mind, we need to learn to connect. Connecting is an important part. How do we connect? Good question. There is a time when we take our sword and armor, which we all have up right now. But there's also a time when we need to relax and drop our sword and armor. To be kind of vulnerable. To connect with something deeper. Because what happens when you fight all the time, all you get is fight, some breath, right? Just follow with me. Allow yourself to receive. Because a lot of the time we just deep, fight. We're not caring about self. I told you this was going to be your health and wellness, well-being retreat, right? So let's do that. So inhale deeply and exhale through the mouth, right? 2 more times. Inhale deeply and exhale. Inhale deeply and then exhale. Just relax into your body. Drop the armor. You know what else we need to do? We need to do some 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 goes like this. You're going to lift your arms up like this. You're going to go 1, 2, 3 and flip it down. Release all the bullshit, all of the stuff you don't want through your fingers, right? Ready? Because there's a lot, right? There's a lot. So play with me. Follow along. Ready? Inhale. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, shit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. 3. And then settle. Relax. Open for your hands, your fingers. Open to your feet. Let everything fall through. You can feel it in your body, right? You felt a bit flowing through. Allow that to happen. Don't judge yourself for it. Whatever story is there, don't judge it. Feel. We are human beings. You're here because you feel. You're here because you are sensitive to the bullshit. Right? You know, you smelt it. You heard it. But a lot of us, because we are sensitive, we accumulate. It's not serving you. Empty. You know when you cook pasta, you boil the water, you put the pasta in, the pasta is al dente, it's cooked, you go to the sink, you empty out. The water goes through the sieve. The goodness stays here. That's what I want you to do. Allow everything to just empty out. So that, if you allow yourself to do this, then you can give more to the world. You look after yourself, you can give more to the world. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you to do something now, something else. I want you to open energetically in front of you, from your heart space, open up to space. Infinite space. Dropping the limitation, dropping the armor, dropping the barriers. Open up freely in front of you. Not just a couple of minutes. right through the wall there. Expand. Be the space. The energy you be. You're much more than this body. Much more. Open freely behind you now. Right through the door there. And expand out. Out to infinity. Expand. It's safe. It's safe to open up. Open the right side, the left side of the body. Expand your wings out. Open from the crown and the head up to the sky. Expand upward. Now open beneath you into the earth. Expand and expand and expand. Now there's more of you here now. You are more present to the moment. You are more centered to yourself. Because you are more sensitive to yourself, then you can invite more ancestors to the now. And any mentors into consciousness, any guidance, use that. Now bring forth to you the future we know is possible. Because we're always focusing about the negative part. Let's focus now on the future we know it's possible. Energetically, bring it to your consciousness. We're playing with magic and energy right now, right? I hope you're realizing that. And if you don't know anything about that, that's okay, go with the right. So, you know how we did the 1, 2, 3 down? We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 up to send the energy, right? For the future that you know it's possible. The future that you know you want to create. Asking as you shall receive. Also, your point of view creates your reality. And so let's create. Change the point of view that it's not possible. Change the point of view that it is possible. So we're going to do some 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to send it out. Energetically send out the future that's possible. You get that? So bring it into your consciousness. All of it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that feels good, right? That feels really good. Rejoice in that. It's not often that you acknowledge where you're at now. You know, really give your pat on the back. Because you guys are awake. You know what you want. Good. Knowledge is power. This is why you're here. Right? You want to use your heart, you want to use your mind with the knowledge that you have, the tools that you have, and you're going to do something with it. Knowledge is power, they say. It is, depending on what you do with that power. Right? So, what are you going to do with that power? How are you going to contribute to yourself and others on this earth? What path are you going to follow that will give you joy, integrity, and self-worth? Yeah? Big stuff. We are all different to each other right here, making us versatile. And we can help in so many different ways. What is your strength? What contribution can you do? Tonight, we have 5 speakers that we're here to listen to and learn from, absorb the learning. We have the first speaker, Tane from the Australian project. We have Nick from Common Law Earth, Michelle from Australia One, Elena from Queensland Education United, and Dottie from Common Law. I would invite more people, but this is what I had time with. Throughout all of this hectic times, call it, from 2020, I've been involved with the first rally in King George Square, 2020. When I turned up there, my jaw fell because many vulnerable people were there. I was so proud of them. And things are changing. More of us are awake. In my world, I welcome everyone. Everyone's welcome. I believe in freedom. I am born in France, and through the education there, we learn about the revolution. And I am following my passion in what's right for the people. Liberty. Yeah. Brotherhood. Fraternity. We need to bring back all of this. We need to gather together. We need to form groups. Get involved with rallies. Get involved. Join Telegram, different groups. Come and stand in the park every Sunday. Caboolture, Centenary Park, 10 a.m. Bribey Island. Join your community. Go to the rallies. Peaceful rallies, choosing kindness. What gift can you give to the community? So that's for me. Get involved and join groups where you feel more drawn from your heart space. I'm going to go and invite now Tane, first speaker. By the way, I'm going to be the kind of the timekeeper. You know, each speaker about 20 to 30 minutes long, but it doesn't have to be long. The message can be short, concise, and powerful. So if you did bring a pen and paper to write things down, feel free to do so. If you have any question, just ask and gather at the end of this meeting tonight and get the information. Okay? So I'd like to invite you to the stage, Tane, from the Australian Party. Come in, Tane.
Hi everyone. I've got two names. I've been in New Zealand helping the Māori, and they adopted me. My name's Tane Parker. They're from me to the system. I've done over 2,197 legal cases. I can't be beaten in court. The court is about language. Before you take on any system, you must understand the language. I was charged with 36 counts of fraud by the system. To understand law, you've got to understand three counts. There's LORE, there's legal, and there's law. What's the difference? Law is native. like gravity. The English teaches us that gravity is up and down. But the indigenous say it's in and out. We breathe in and out. We don't breathe up and down. There's legal context. It's maritime military law. So when you get a birth certificate, you're put on a ship. That's why you're a citizenship. You're harvested and shanghai on the ship. Therefore, to get released onto the land, you need a license. License. That's military. Content. The language is jurisprudence, which is a fiction of law. Jurisprudence. Look it up on Google. Then law is equity. And it's driven by maxims of law. First law is best known. Content is rule of law. That's the people. We come together and make the law based on our district for survival. So the root of everything in equity is survival. How we survive as a group. Does that make sense? So just stand up, everyone. Well, I just put your hands up. Good. Put your hand up if you've got a birth certificate. It might be easier. Put your hand up if you don't have a birth certificate. Look around. Under the Cestody Q Trust, 1666. It says that you're dead if you've got a birth certificate. You're dead. So that means you can't success. And that happened in the Great War, fires of London. Okay? You can look up on Google, Stormy, and it explains it. So, life is duality. Anyone know what duality means? What? Two sides, correct. So we have a credit side and we have a debtor side. So we fall out of the spirit and we fall into the head. And the head has two sides. A credit side says you're native to the land, you're living. Then the debtor side says you're a person and you're dead, being administrated by the United Nations. And they sub-franchise that to the franchisees, which is called the states. The correct syntax of state means ESA. So upon your mother registering you, selling you to this ESA for administration, your mother is the informant. Go get your birth certificate. It says clearly informant. What's the definition of an informant? Sorry? A dauber. Exactly. But this is, everything's language. It's time that we understand the commerce language of debit and credit. So there's another certificate in Des Personalities. And this is why I encourage everyone, and put an email, give Michelle, put your hand up, Michelle. Give her your email, and she will tell you the process by email, how to get your born certificate. And your born certificate says that you're living. So that's on which side? Credit. Now you become living, you become credit. On the debit side, as a birth certificate, you're being administrated. And you're dead. So how do you drive a car? How do you get a mortgage if you're dead? You've got a license. It comes from military. It says that you can come onto the land, out of the ship, and participate. As long as you've got a license. Everyone hear me? Who wants to be a lawyer? Who wants to stay dead? So it's an administration process at law. Now, I'm not religious. Okay, can everyone hear that? I'm not religious. I just practice law. So the Māori approached me and they said, we've lost the land. We own 100%. We're down to 15%. I opened my window and the land hadn't got any. It was there. So I was confused. How can you lose something that's right for you? So what I did, I flew to India and asked the Indian, see, in Mahatma, how they kicked me was Indian. And they said, well, we ate Indian, we dressed Indian, we didn't do any commerce with English. So they couldn't get a football. So I flew back and I said, I'm a guy that just asks lots of questions. What, where, when, how, and who. So the land's still there, but the Māori said they've lost it. Confusing. Who's a bit confused on that? So I realised the government labels people. They put titles on everything. So I realised that there was a fee simple title. So if the land is still there, that's customary title. What the legal systems put over the top of it is a tablecloth. And that's called fee simple. Birth certificate. So it's still there, but it's in titles, in labels. So when I started to understand the language and the processes, I went after the legal, not the content, I went after the context. You see, I started to bust up the cup. I started challenging the cup. So natural law says, as you sow, so shall you. So as I was attacking the cup, of course, the cup started attacking me. So after a number of wins in the court, they came after me and charged me with 36 counts of fraud. Now, I didn't even have a bank account. I'm trained at the highest level in business, so I'm a paymaster. So the game was relevant. How do I beat them? You know, the government's got big pockets. They can throw the best QC barristers out there. They want me. But I understood the language. So I just kept asking them questions. What's that mean? What's that? It's called a process of discovery. It's called letters of laboratory. You're a corporation. They must have a director. They must have shareholders. They're not a people's company. They're a corporation. They're going to hear me or not? It's just realism. So if they want to order you to wear a mask, and they want to order you to stay home, close your businesses, what's the remedy? Sorry? Send them an invoice. I'm happy. Here's my free schedule. I'll wear a mask. It'll cost you $1 million a day. Pay the bill and I'll fulfill the service. You want me to get gas? I'm happy to get gas. It'll cost you $5 billion a day. What are they going to say? Hello? No, they won't, because they're a corporate. They understand commerce. You people don't understand, otherwise you'd be doing. See, I don't drive with a driver's license. I don't drive with a number. I see you sergeant pull me up. I explain, and I want you to look at your passport, and inside your passport, between you and the pair of three trackers. You don't need license, because you're not on the ship. They are your state of consciousness, your mind, your language, your habits, your beliefs, your perceptions. You have to change that. The things to change, whereas I must. Everyone hear me? You have to change. You got to stop blaming, justify, and start taking actions and understand that language. You can act as a big person, or you can start acting as a living. It's your choice. It's your choice. You've got to take back the power. Okay? In Genesis 1:26, maybe I want to write this down. Genesis 1:26, it says, God created man in our image, in our likeness. He gave dominion to man. Dominion to man over earth. And all the scriptures. Again, I'm not religious. I'm just understanding law. So I go in the court and I said to the Crown, can they show me the contract? I said, what contract? I said, the contract that where I'm a living man and I transfer that contract that God gave me to you, the corporation. And I said, no, we don't have. But one fact, one contract. Only two laws, trust law and contract law. Every day, you're communicating with someone and making just as you know and talk. Does that make sense? Be careful of the contracts you enter. Understand the language. Now, in my case, I knew language. Anyone here heard of syntax? Syntax is what's on your computer. It's written in a language that makes your computer work. But syntax says there must be a fact. There's only one way to write a fact. You need a preposition, article, fact. Go on to Google, look up the word syntax, and you can teach you how the language works. You need to know what a noun is. You need to know what a verb is, an adverb. And so what I did with these 5 acres of documents they sent me, I just syntaxed it. I was looking for the fact, which is mathematical, 5, 6, 7. Of course, there was no fact. So there can't be an injured party. There can't be anyone causing the injury, because there's no fact. So I submitted these documents. And up on Caboolture, you'll see the order from the judge, where there was a grave miscarriage of justice. There was no element of fact in a 15-week trial, 10 hours a day. It cost them $1.5 million to take me to court. And that's public money. Does that make sense? So the key, what I'm trying to press here, it's about language. You need to learn the correct commercial language, because you're dealing it every day. When I got pulled up with the car, the senior sergeant, didn't believe a word I was saying, so they're behind me, report. I filed documents. The judge went blah, 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 stood up out of court and went outside and ordered me out of court, because he was just about their deal. In my 15-week trial, The judge is no longer practicing on the bench. He's retired. Their establishment kicked him off the bench. He should never have left the system get the levels of bills that they received. Every time I went to court, they got an invoice. And him personally. So you don't invoice the police. You don't invoice the government. You invoice the individual that's raising the charge. Okay? And then you put the invoice in there, and you go, you send a statement after 7, 14, 21, 31 days, you go and apply for a summary judgment against the individual. And you take his house off him. You're dealing in commerce. You don't have to be the effective one. Once you learn the language, you can be at cause. Because God gave you the trust, the will to manage the land or earth. If anyone could put up a hand and say, yes, I transferred that to the government or the country, put your hand up. So I guess no one transferred that interest to the government. So you're sitting here with total power, total autonomy over your future. There is no contract with the corporation. And it's not, you're asked to vote in a month or whatever. What are you voting for? A corporation? A director? Who are you voting? What are you voting? It's not a people's government. It's a corporation. So they're in breach of contract because you're led to believe that you're voting for a people government. And yet they're converting it to a corporation. And they don't give you full disclosure on where the directors, who the shareholders are. Who's learned something tonight? Yeah. What are you going to do with it? Sorry? Who's the beneficiary? So this is, I want you to understand this language. The body is the trust. The trustees are who? With 5 senses. The beneficiary is the spirit. So the spirit, when you know who you are, the spirit directs the 5 senses to move motion in the body. The body must be always balanced. It's not positive, it's not negative, it's balanced. Like a car battery. If your car battery is too positive, you won't get motion. If it's too negative, you won't get motion. You've got to make sure the battery, the body, is in balance. In my journey, I've beaten everything at the system. Their only weapon was to discredit me. They took the judgment off the internet, and they've got a lot of publicity about I'm a fraud on this and on that. And that's great, because it stops idiots coming to me that don't ask or ask questions. If I was really that, I'd be still locked up. So I think they gave me 7 years jail. When you attack the cup, you will be attacked. You understand? You've got to know who you are. The massive. You're the spirit, and you ask them questions. There is no contract. You just go and say, look, show me the contract. Your disclosure is section Genesis 1:26. Show me where the contract exists and where I transferred it. They say, well, we haven't got one. So move motion to dismiss. If they tell you wear a mask, if they tell you do anything, bring out your fee schedule, send them an invoice. Imagine if the whole populace of the butcher gave the government invoices. And then we did static money. Then we did some orders to get them to pay because they're a corporation. And then we put a lien over the organisation that's sending us a bill and we collapse them. You collapse them because they've got to do commerce. You know what I mean? It's not argument. It's be, do, have. Be, do, have. So if you want to have freedom, what are you willing to do? See, noise, just wind, has no force of law. An invoice has force of law. Because somebody's got to pay. Who's wanted to write some invoices out? Who wants their freedom? It's the doing this. And if you don't know, then contact me. Okay? Join TAP Caboolture, TAP Caboolture. The education goes on line there. And we'll have meetings going forward. This week, I'm full on in private prosecution. I am the only one with a Queen seal. So when I put the seal on the order, that turns them into trustees, the establishment. So we're doing private prosecution. I've got an ex-police officer who's helping me, and we're writing and serving them. Hopefully by the end of next week, we would have a number of prosecutions. Now, the private prosecution, when I sued the clerk of the court in New Zealand, she had to stand down from her job. You can't be in a government job with a criminal charge against you. So by us, our team, putting the private prosecutions down, we're standing down the health minister, we're standing down the police, we're standing down politicians. And anyone that wants to interpret the language of crime. The biggest one that I have success with is using documents for pecuniary gains. Okay, how do I get a pecuniary gain? You get a salary. I did this in the public reports case, the Crown official, and she said, how do I get pecuniary gain? I said, salary. She stood up, cancelled the case. You've got to use language against language. If you have positive against positive, you have negative against negative. If you have positive and negative, you create an argument. It's time to stop the debtors' arguments and start becoming a creditor, asking lots of questions. Does that make sense? Who wants to be a creditor? What the rest of you want to be? So, I really thank you for your time and the opportunity to talk to you. Yes? No. Because you're a part of this. You don't understand that they billing you, they have to have money. You can invoice them for your services. Okay? Free living man on the land. Use the law against the law. Don't make it up. Okay, thank you again.
Thank you. Wow. A lot of information. Check it out. Come on, guys, check it. Now, and then absorb what you need to know. Knowledge, right? How powerful can you be when you know the knowledge to apply it? Right? This might not be for everyone. Works for him, And you might have a lot of judgment against him for what he's done. Because he doesn't want to play with the system anymore. It's a hard thing. Open mind. That's all I'm asking you to be, open mind. Okay? Second speaker, Nick from Common Law Word. Come on up, my friend. Hello, everyone. My name's Nick. Take the shot, or she's subject to impositions myself. But right from the very beginning, this time last year, even earlier, it was clear from then that it was an assault. It was an assault on our moral values. Everyone's preoccupied with bodily autonomy, like their right to go to the pub or whatever. For me, from the very beginning, it was a direct assault on our conscience. It's a crisis of values, is what I feel we're faced with and contending with. And look, I haven't prepared a speech or anything. I've just got a few sort of notes basically on things that I think are important to sort of highlight, because the time for talking or convincing or discussing, the pros and cons and the ins and outs are gone. We're past that window. I don't even bother trying to, persuade people or convince people. They're pretty much condemned if they don't understand what's happening now. We need to sort of move on with the people. Those of us here like now. This is exactly what they didn't want. They don't want people coming together. They want us all isolated, divided, suspicious, dobbing each other in. So it's not working. We're already here coming together. And this is what we still need to do, like right now. Right. A few weeks ago, we had a big meeting here. It was sort of aimed to be a community meeting. And the idea was for people in the community to share their views of the situation, how it's affected them, what they want to do. And it was a meeting, it was directed at the councillors. It seemed to have been forgotten. And local issues and how it affects us locally. Since when did the health of the community trump the health of the individual? Like what? This is the crisis of values that's just been imposed on us. If they just called it collectivism and called themselves collectivists and wanted to impose on our individual autonomy, we'd understand, the enemy identified. They don't clarify that, What is a community? A collection of individuals with common values. It's the civil in civilization. Probably about 2 months ago, I've joined the Common Law Assembly and am now the convener down here at Caboolture. Common law is the law of the land. It's the basis of our English common law legal structure. And as I'm learning more about that, it's basically the values. I mean, law is just basically codified values, that we agree to. And, like, what are we all afraid of now? What's preventing us from moving ahead right now? Like, I feel like asking, who are the teachers in the room right now? Can we put our hands up? Who are the parents wanting to school their kids for the next semester? You guys need to sit down together, workshop and talk and plan. Who's got an empty premises to use? Who's got a, who can bring the curricula forward? What's preventing this? Who are the medics and doctors in the room tonight? Do we have hands up? Are there any medics and doctors or nurses in the room tonight? I've been floating the idea for months now, because we need
medical attention, and I knew it was going to come to this already. Like if it was going to be denied to that hostel, you don't want to go there. You know, I've got cuts on my feet, cuts on my head. I get stitches regularly. I'm a metal roofer. You know, like where do I go for that sort of attention? So I've been asking doctors and nurses talk to each other, start private clinics. I would join a membership if you floated some kind of like NRMA style membership deal, sign up and join up. You know, as a member, you can get them come out. You guys can do this. The only thing stopping you, I'm told, is insurance. Insurance. What is insurance? It's liability. It's the blame game. Look, for years, I was a staunch supporter of the Syrian loyalists defending their state against the jihadi assault that they were under, and I've learned and watched Syrians maintain their state under siege when things collapsed. And what happened? How did they actually go about that? What were the nuts and bolts of that? It was simply they just picked up. They picked up and carried on. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for the cavalry. You know, they just, you know, they didn't school them. These kids need schooling. So they sit under a tree and started schooling them. You know, someone needs medical attention over here. I'm a school teacher, it doesn't matter. Wrap his leg, you know, next thing he's a medic. You know, it's just a matter of getting on with things. And look, you know, my sweetheart from Malaysia, like they have a car accident there. They're not calling insurance companies. The two families sorted out with each other. That's how it's settled. You know, this is what we need to return to. It's trust. You know, it's basically trust, and it's not insurance we need to worry about. It's integrity. You know, and this is what we really need to work with. It's because it is a crisis of integrity. You know, when appetite overtakes reason. It's a moral crisis. It's like, you know, since when we know what's wrong, you know in your heart what's wrong when something's wrong. To be told to do something wrong or agree that something is wrong, you know it's wrong, it's wrong. And your conscience is your own. And this is the moral assault we're faced with. You know, in the end, when you do something wrong, you know, like you're only yourself to blame. You know, whether you're stood over by some heavy, whether you've been convinced by some harpy, you know, in the end, you can be bitter at them, you can despite them, but in the end, deep down, you know, only you are accountable for that. Only you are to blame, and you will be for your own actions and conduct and your own intentions. You know, wherever you go from here, you know, they're stripping everything away from us. You know, they're wanting to dismantle. You know, people who are kidding themselves that they've got to have this job to keep their job. They don't understand the whole institutions are being demolished and detonated. You know, we're all going to be unemployed. Look, as I say, I'm a roofing contractor. No one's actually told me anything. But, you know, I wasn't waiting for it to come to the contractors. Straight off the bat, as far as I'm concerned, even the short-term derivative of the initial assault is the testing regime. Like, why did everyone concede to that? What's wrong with people? Like, you know, it's not hard. Like, it's just not hard to decline. You don't have to be rude or arrogant or aggressive about it. Simply decline. You know, like I know myself. I already knew that. Like, I drew that line. I've never worn a mask. I've never QR scanned, and I've never, you know, I've never been confrontational about it. But obviously, I knew, and I was even joking about it a year from now. It was better to cut my teeth and get used to saying no at the mask before they got someone holding the needle over your head, you know. And here we are a year later. People are just starting to, you know, get brave now because they know they've drawn their line. We've got a nurse staying with us at the moment at home. She does home care packages. That's something else I want to talk about. You know, like there's people out there now, homeowners and residents who just like us, you want to reject this poison. All of a sudden, where do they go to? You know, because, you know, like they want unvaxxed people looking after them or whatever. So you know, like let's start nurses and doctors approaching homeowners, offering care packages for, you know, like let's move on. Let's just set up like classrooms, and open up medical centres. You know, what's stopping us? No one's going to give us the permission. If these test kits, if breathalyzers were held to the same standard as test kits, they would not be tolerated. They simply wouldn't be tolerated. So why do we tolerate it? Why are we accepting this? You know, like, I know myself, I haven't personally been asked, but I would decline. I would refuse to be tested simply on the grounds that this false positive will affect my sweetheart, my neighbour, my workmate, You know, like that's what they want. You know, they want to, you know, to basically have as a threat to each other. You know, sort of. So it's like, you know, like don't play the game. Like it's not hard to decline. You know, like it's look. Coming back to my message for businesses, you know, who are faced, you know, with that lonely sort of potential situation of, you know, of having to pay for their integrity or whatever it is, you know, being hit with fines. And that, you know, all I can say is the only fines that have been paid are the ones that have been conceded, the ones that people have agreed to. You know, anyone who's actually, like in New South Wales, the latest update is a heap of fines that are on the books have just been thrown out because they just know people are fighting them and they're just not valid and they're just ditching it. You know, so that's the message there. Look, none of this is even legislated. It hasn't been tabled in Parliament. It hasn't been royal assent. I've got a point here. It's understood in the courts that no law is valid until it's tested. That's a common term in the courts. You know, it needs to take to establish jury precedents or whatever. You know, so they don't even know, even if it's enacted, even if it's, you know, de facto, they don't even know whether it's applicable until it's been challenged. Yeah, challenged. That's what tested means. Question, challenge. You know, and that's, you know, I would say what they've legislated. If it's wrong, challenge it. You know, and how do you do that? Okay, I'll get on a practical note because, you know, it doesn't have to be about common law. I was on a Zoom meeting. Was invited to Justin Sibley, lawyers. He's the solicitor who's taken on the police case. They're rejecting their commissioners' impositions and directives. There's about 60 officers on that case, and there's about another 200 officers on another case contesting the workplace sort of imposition of that. Now, I want everyone to spare a thought for these officers. They're part of our community too. They're husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, births. You know, they're our neighbours. And they don't want to live in a community with these individuals anymore. They want to be the ones to impose it, you know. But everyone's quick to rally around the doctors and nurses. Everyone's quick to now rally around teachers, childcare workers, you know. The cops can't even rally around each other without being, you know, threatened with insubordination. So just spare a thought for that, with every one of them, you know. They're our neighbours. Now, his advice, because he just simply deals with his limited resources, what he calls precedental cases that will help everyone. And for people who can't help, he's advising, you know, packages to help themselves, basically. And we've sort of looked into that ourselves to be able to impart with others, you know. And one of the things he sort of highlights is judicial reviews. And this is a simple sort of, he sort of sums it up that basically, in his own words here, our view is that states mandating any vaccinations can be legally challenged by individuals who are aggrieved by it through judicial review acts. Individuals, that's every single person individually. Now, just reading from highlights, simply like as he points out, simply relying on the fact that a patient is put the consent box in circumstances of widespread care, cohesion and manipulation appears to occasion risk. So he goes on. We encourage all persons aggrieved by the decision to be aware of their right to seek a judicial review against the Chief Health Officer. So how it works is the Chief Health Officer has to individually respond to every single review. Think about that for a minute. Any situations that are in review are basically on hold, you know. So a shopkeeper has just been hit with a fine because he's refuses to turn away beloved long time customers, whatever, you know. So okay, on the back of that fine, you elect to hear it important, challenge it. Always challenge the fine. I've been hearing rumours of people saying, "I'll just pay the fine." Don't pay anything you disagree with, whether it's a bill, a fine, or anything else. You know, don't pay them. Elect to hear it in court. You know, you'll get to court. If you elect to hear it in court, you also lodge a judicial review. It's, you know, filing fees, $80, whatever. And that's what it is. It's a judiciary officer independently review that decision and basically review the Chief Health Officer's decision and hold him to task. That's where he has to explain himself on that review. So basically, a shopkeeper lodges a review. He goes back to the court on the fines. He says the review's been lodged on this sort of thing. So basically, probably that fine and any future fines while that produce being processed would be on hold, you know. And then, like I say, for any grievance, you can look at it, whether it's at the moment, like I can't go and see my mum in New South Wales, like, well, probably I can now, but we just can't come home. You know, like that's I'm aggrieved, you know, like so many things. And my sweetheart off the job, that's her aggrievement. This is the thing to be mindful of. The applicant has to be the personally aggrieved. You can't lodge it on behalf of your children or your wife or your husband. You have to lodge it on behalf of yourself. So this is basically like using their statutory law system. This is not this, you know, but it is based on common law. The actual Judicial Review Act is based under the common law values and underpinnings of our legal system. So that's just some practical sort of advice that we're actually adding. We've got business packs we've been handing out, informing and basically ensuring businesses, you know, understand where they stand and also understand the community want them to feel supported, you know, that they're not on their own. And as we, you know, develop more and organise more as an organisation ourselves, we'll be able to offer more assistance and advice as we learn more ourselves on where common law applies. You know, common law applies to the living only. It doesn't apply to institutions or you know, departments or entities or such, you know. So, you know, on a basic example, you know, like some years ago, a police officer was telling me how he set up his speed camera, you know, with his distance to his mailbox and the whole bit. And he had a car coming the other way, run off the road and crashed. And she sued him. She served him. So we got the paperwork for that. He took it to his officers and he sort of said, oh, she sued him. They looked at the paperwork and going, backing with his own solicitor, take time off work. No backing. When you want to serve someone under a common law basis, you're serving that individual. Well, you make a complaint to the QPS, you'll get an institutional response. You know, and this is like, this carries right through. So, you know, you got someone at Bunnings that's stopping you coming in or whatever, you know, if it's, you know, if it's obstructing you or whatever, you know, you just let them know, look, if I serve you with clear criminality and breach of, you know, Commonwealth statutes or, you know, codes, Bunnings isn't going to support you. I'm going to sue you personally, not Bunnings, for your behaviour. And this is what you need to sort of, you know, get across to people, you know, like, you know, it's them individually and they'll be on their own, you know, and it just helps people understand, like, because we are all accountable for our own behaviour and conduct, our own intents. And we certainly don't have all the answers. And this meeting is more about bringing people together. And almost I would encourage workshopping, you know, like I say, teachers, parents, talk to each other, get organised now. Who's got a spare shed? Who's got a spare building? You know, who's got the curriculums? You know, organise, communicate with each other. And like I say, please get back to me following up on this. Look, I pictured an Flora style sort of setup, you know, any town anywhere, join up here and I can call a medic or a doctor or whatever. They've got access to pharmacies or whatever. Look, it's just a matter of pushing and getting on with this. Even if it's a clever sort of name change of things, the way the chiropractor put in physios or whatever, so they didn't have to be registered, whatever. Like, I'm not a roofer, I'm a water like a pitch hydrologist or whatever, you know, like, you know, like not a nurse, you're a, you know, like a, like a health recoverer or something, you know, like whatever you want to call yourself. Like, it's the thing, like, you're not calling yourself a nurse, you're not breaching their registration bullshit on their system and structure. Let's reset our own structure.
I don't know about you, right? Are you? Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Speaking from the heart, right? It's raw. It's easy. Are you ready? Come on down, Michelle. From Australia Lunch Party. Nick mentioned about business fact, so make sure you look at that. There's also Mix has also, I don't know if you join on Telegram, Moreton Bay Business United, right? So we do need to form groups. The government is not going to support us. The union is not supporting us. That's right. All right. So we took, Alina is going to talk about that a bit later on. Anyway, here comes Michelle, dear friend of mine.
Hi everyone, I may be from the Australia One Party, but tonight we're not talking about that. Tonight, let's just cut the bullshit. As Cedric said, we've all smelt it, we've heard it, as long as we don't doubt it. So tonight's no politics. Tonight is no groups with their own agendas. Tonight is about no division. Tonight is about us. Tonight is about us people and our community. It's about saving people and saving our community. And what is the community? It is us. It is us, the people, and it is the businesses. So I'm here to talk about business as well today. I've recently closed my business, my husband and I both. We have had businesses in Morton Regional for 14 years, and I know firsthand how difficult business has been over the last many years. Small business has been suffering in silence for many, many years, and COVID has not been kind. Small business is the backbone of the community. We know this. We've been told this for years and years, and yet we are reamed by the government and by the banks. And small business employs 40% of people. So you guys over there, you're all employed by small business. In a couple of days' time, 30% of you are not going to have jobs in those small businesses because you haven't taken a jab. Sorry about that. Too bad, tough shit. So sad. I hope you got COVID sessions because no job. Now that small business is now down 30% of their team. Simultaneously, they're now going to be 30% less of their regular clientele. So production is down 30%, business is down 30%, profits are down 30%. Sucks to be a small business owner right now, doesn't it? So, another thing that I want to tell you about is a lot of people don't understand how small business works. So my husband and I disclosed both of our businesses last week. Out of those two businesses, we supported 30 Australian small businesses, local, Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast. Now, if 10 businesses in Morton Regional close, that's 300 businesses. If 20 businesses close in Morton Regional, that is 600 businesses. That is a lot of people who cannot put food on their table. That is a lot of people who cannot pay their mortgages. So we need to stand up and actually do something about it. And what are we going to do? We are going to say no more to shopping online with those foreign national companies that take all the profits out of Australia. We need to start up. Every owner and every consumer needs to say no more. We are not going to be quiet. And business owners need to know that it's correct. It is our business to cut their hair. So if anybody
got them. And you can stick them in your window where you say no discrimination. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. All right, so this movement is not about us. It's not about us here in the school. It's not actually about us in our community. It is about the children. It is about their children, and it is about their children's children. And we so saving our community, our families, and this nation is paramount. So we're going to have to suck it up. We're going to have to cop the 30% extra that we're going to have to pay to support local and do the right thing. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for a little bit of a while, but short-term pain for long-term gain is what we need to do. And there's got to be a way, like I haven't put much thought into this, Nick said before either, but there has to be a way. We are not stupid. We are smart, entrepreneurial. And I'm sure that there's a way that we can come together and support our businesses. I mean, is there a butcher out here? Hairdresser? Anyone? Does anyone do that? Oh, Nick, Ruger, Spencer, Jay. So, sorry? Well, you know, we'll start running around. So, there you go. So, there's got to be a way us clever people can get together and create some sort of conglomerate of businesses that are all supporting each other. That, absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, membership, people are happy to pay membership if they're going to get a discounted price. There is something that we can all do, but you know what? We've got to freaking do it. And it can only be us that changes this and us that changes this. So when you go home this afternoon, I don't want you to just go home and think, oh, you know, I've done a great thing. I've gotten out to a rally tonight. No, take a good look in the mirror, because that's the person that is going to be saving this country, saving this community, and saving all of our families. We must action this for the future of our country and the future of our children. So let's make shit happen, people.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm going to ask somebody else to come up now, which is Lance from the Australian Project Mode. We just came from down the Gold Coast, was stuck in Harwick because the border and everything. I've looked at his podcast the other day and I was inspired as well. So always keep an open mind with everything. You're receiving the information, you're absorbing it, you're tuning into your heart, not from here. The mind is sometimes plays stories, judge, creates doubt, fear, anxiety. Drop into here, open up. Cool? So welcome, Lance.
Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to speak to you. Can you all hear me okay? You see me? That's fine. All right. I'm really happy to be here tonight talking to you guys. I can tell you I hadn't put a lot of thought into what I'm going to say. I know what we're doing. I know it's working. We're coming together as communities. When I look out and I look at the age group in the crowd, I'm seeing this age crowd everywhere I'm speaking. And there's a reason for that. Because we're the ones that stuffed it up. Not the children, not the young adults. It was our age group. Australia really started taking that turn in 1974, 1975 era. And we had such a good life, we just sat back and let them do whatever they wanted as long as they kept feeding us some chips across the table. So we are the seagulls. We've come in for the cheap feed and we've enjoyed the lifestyle and we've lived off the scraps. Australia is one of the wealthiest countries on this planet. And that wealth is Commonwealth. And Commonwealth means the wealth of the people that are born to this land. That's us. When was the last time you got a check from BHP because they're using your assets? You didn't. Who gave BHP the right to the minerals? Who gave Clive Palmer the right to the minerals? Who here said to Clive, hey, we think it's a good idea that you sell iron ore to our number one enemy so they can build battleships and eventually come down and take us over. And that's good that you've made $3.8 billion this year to date. Well, we've lost cafes, small businesses, and record numbers. But Clive's got a plan to save us. He wants to extend exactly the same system that's kept us prisoner. And that's exactly what we don't want. So what are we going to do? If you don't like what's happening in Australia, you just need to look in the mirror. Because the person in the mirror is the only person who can make the change. Now I'm going to let us all off the hook for a little minute. Because until this event, there wasn't much we could actually were going to come together. We needed something so horrible that we would actually start to open our eyes. So our enemy has delivered the wake-up call. The very thing they planned to enslave us further and to mass genocide and to get rid of the population so they could control us is the exact same thing that's going to wake us up and bring us together. And that's happened for a reason. This time is called the Great Awakening. And humanity is moving to another stage. And evolution is forward to greatness. And we won't take everybody with us. We'll take everyone we can. But some people, through absolute choice, will die of these vaccines. And that was their free choice. They decided not to get informed. They decided to trust the government. And the irony is if you ask 90% of Australians, do you trust politicians? They're going to say no. But they lined up and took the vaccine anyway. There's probably people here who are vaccinated. And I can tell you, if you're prepared to do the research, there's things you can do already to kill the spike protein, to remove the graphene oxide, and start to boost your immune system, which has been attacked. Now, the modification to your DNA, which makes you transhuman, I'm hopeful there'll be something to fix that in the future. But there's nothing that I'm being told about at the moment. So this is where we're at tonight. Where do you want to be? Do we want to go through this for another 3 or 4 years? Right, we don't. So what we need to do now is recognise our enemy and recognise how to defeat them. Now, the previous speaker was absolutely spot on. Our enemy is not the government. Our enemy is the corporations. And the corporations are designed specifically to destroy our wealth and concentrate the wealth in their control. They've developed the banking system that is absolutely fraudulent, completely corrupted, and yet we line up to pay a mortgage every month like good little slaves. We created that money didn't exist. And yet we worked to pay it back. Coming up here tonight, I was stuck in traffic. And the highway is just jam-packed. And we know we had to go upgrade and we were supposed to fix all these things. But the sheer lunacy of all these people spending all that time on their cars, because as a society we failed to organise ourselves. The best life we ever had was when we lived in communities, we lived in villages. We had a butcher, a baker, a candle stick maker. We all know the rhyme, right? They all jumped over a lot of potato. We taught this in school. They won't teach children in school this anymore. They want to teach them that it's okay to be a lesbian. It's okay to be a homosexual. If a priest is a pedophile, well, we've got to understand that's a sexual orientation. These are the things they want to teach our kids in school now. They don't want to teach them about food, clothing, and shelter. Because they don't want us to be self-reliant. They don't want us to create. They want us to consume. So how do we stop consumption? We stop feeding our enemy. And our enemy is the corporation. Don't put on sausage sizzles. The terrible sausages at $2, they're too expensive. Don't go to Bunnings. I'm a tradie and a builder, right? It is torture for me to have to go to Bunnings to buy something in desperation. Because it's just a bit green and full of buckets. It's not the best place to shop. But it's convenient and they capture us. What's happened since Bunnings is open? They've all gone. And you go to Bunnings and it's really, there's good staff. I'm not going to put you on staff. They're good people, right? They don't employ the same ratio as what a small hardware would do, and they don't have the same level of expertise. Listen. That's exactly right. And they're all local, mostly family businesses. They're gone. Okay? And with that, all those family values. Now, who owns farms? West Farmers. Who owns West Farmers? Vanguard. Black Rock. So we are feeding our enemy simply through making poor decisions. Now, we were fine to do that before because we didn't know who the enemy was. Now we do. Now we've got to make the fundamental changes. We've got to vote with our wallet. Forget about voting for politicians. Look, I've done lots of these talking gigs with politicians, and I can tell you, they all get up there and tell you we know everything about everything, but they don't tell you the solution. Okay, because it's not about solution. Every politician that's in government knows what's going on. Where's the Liberal National Party been? I haven't seen them on the media since COVID broke out. They're allowed to do whatever they want. They're free people. The media can be bought out, but they can still come out to things like this and open our eyes and saying, guys, listen, we can tell you for sure, because we've got the documents in Parliament, that no one in the world has ever isolated COVID-19. They know that. Are they out here telling us? They know the PCR tests are fake. Are they out here telling us? They know the vaccines are killing 2 people to save 1, and that's on their own figures. Are they out here telling us? They're not. Are they worthy of your vote? None of them. But it's not enough that we fill the people in this room with that information. Your job is to tell other people what's going on. We need to open their eyes. Most people in Australia now are awake, but for them it's Sunday morning and they don't want to get out of bed. So their eyes are open, but they pull the sheet over their head and said, I don't want to know about it. That's where they're at. So we need to recognise that. We need to be kind to them. Vaxxed or unvaxxed. If they're vaxxed and they're having problems, there's lots of doctors out there who can help them. There's doctors now prescribing ivermectin. You just need to start asking around and finding out. My youngest daughter got an exemption. She worked for Queensland Health. She worked in the COVID clinic. Right, so she knows what's going on. I'll tell you a story. So there's 400 people lined up to come into the clinic, and they're all keen as mustard. Someone took an anaphylactic reaction to the vaccine. Now, where the clinic is and where the emergency is, they've got to wheel these people past everyone on the line to get to emergency. And so there's someone on the gurney going like this. And everyone in the line's doing this. And not one left. Not one left the line. So my daughter, she would ring up and say, listen, you know, your slot's come up, you can come and get the vaccine, and people would ask her questions. And she'd say, listen, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, don't do it. Okay? That's why she left Queensland Health. Because they didn't like that business model, because this is a business for these people. The doctors are getting paid bonuses to give the vaccine. Chemists are getting paid bonuses. Doctors get paid bonuses through a COVID death certificate. Bunnings got paid to line people up. Why are they doing this? I'll tell you why they're doing this, because they're failing. They're desperate. They've come to the end of the railway line. We're going to see big changes happening in Australia very soon. It's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be really bumpy. You get like that anaphylactic shock. That's what we're going to be like, right? We're going to run out of food. So people need to get food stores. One of my really good mates runs a huge cold store over at Rockley. And he's saying, when's that ship coming in? I've got diverted to Sydney. When's that ship coming in? I've got diverted to Melbourne. When's that ship coming in? Oh, well, they took so long in Sydney and Melbourne that everything coming in is spoiled. And there's nothing coming in. Now, these are excuses. The container ships aren't coming in. They're not unloading food. You've all heard that we've run out of urea in Australia, right? That is absolute bullshit. Australia exports urea. We produce urea down at Gibson Island in Brisbane Institute. Okay? No, because they'll control the supply, right? Because they want to stop the farming. We're going to run out of AdBlue so they can stop the trucks. This is all engineered. How do we beat it? We just get prepared. We work together as a community. We help each other, right? And you're going to have to help your neighbours. So we're in for a really rough 3-4 months next year. But that's the start of the end. Okay, so globally, big players have been taken out. Globally. Arrests are happening globally. There is a global alliance. We could not do this on our own, but we've got all the help we need, because people saw this coming for a long time. The enemy were planning, but the good guys were planning as well. And if you know anything about the good guys, they always win. And that's just not in the movies, that's in life. So if we win this war, we've already won this war. Okay? But we can't be lazy. We've got to keep working, and we've just got to keep doing simple things, little things, like to stop supporting the corporations. Corporations are the enemy. I can't say that strongly enough. Forget about the government. They're just absolutely irrelevant. Look at the submarine contract in South Australia. So Christopher Pine gives a lucrative contract to a French submarine manufacturer that builds nuclear subs, but Australia doesn't want nuclear subs. So what do? We say put diesel engines in them. And we've paid 3 times the contract value, and they haven't delivered one submarine. So all of a sudden, Australia's buying American submarines that are nuclear powered. Did you see that argued in Parliament? Did you see it go through the Senate? Why aren't our senators telling us this stuff? Why is someone, I've got a lot of respect for Pauline, right? She has fought the good fought. She went into politics to change the world. Did she change the world? She didn't change the world changed her. She went from a fish and chip shop owner to a very wealthy person these days. As a parliamentarian, how is that possible? It's not possible. Okay, the maths just don't add up. Use your brain, connect the dots, work out for yourself what's going on. Okay, the system is broken. It's broken. Can we vote our way out of this? I don't think we can. Okay, what we need to do is we need to restructure Australia. And it's okay to have elected leaders, but we've got to be in control of the elected leaders. At the moment in the government, we've got all the people down the bottom, and they're carrying the weight of everybody above them, all the way up to the Prime Minister, right? The system that I'm proposing is about the elected leaders holding up the people of Australia. So they carry us, we don't carry them. And if you want to be an elected leader, then you should be, and I'm talking elected to the local community. You've seen what's happened to the council. Councillors used to be part-time jobs when I was a child. They were elected because they had a good life in the community. They'd been good, honest businessmen with high integrity, and they were retired or semi-retired, and they would give their time to that position to see the community function. Now what have you got? Lord Mayor's on $600,000 a year. Thank you very much. Highest paid pedophiles in the world, right? Our Lord Mayors. I can tell you guys, it's a club, and we're not in it. So we need to I love this. I love the energy that you guys are feeding me. I can feel the spirit with me now. Yep. Yeah, 3 to 4 months. You're going to get drips and drabs of supply, but you're not going to get regular supply. Okay, so I'm happy to talk about the banks and what I believe, right? 2020 Christmas Eve, ScoMo gave us all a Christmas present. They passed in the midnight bill bailing, right? They didn't pass that legislation for the fun of it. They passed it in case they needed it. So that's their intention, right? But they're not getting their intention. So the level of my information is, I'm going to say, I don't know if the bad guys can collapse the banking system anymore, or whether the good guys are in control of it. So there's some suggestion that the good guys are heavily in control of the monetary system. Will there be changes? The Iraqi dinar has already been reset. Okay, so it's gone from down here back to a good level. It's three, yeah, external and three internal for a raft. The dong is the Vietnamese. Yeah, I don't know if the Vietnamese dong's been reset yet. Not yet, but it's on the books, and the Zim, which is the Zimbabwe bonds. Now look, there's some ridiculous stuff getting around about the Zimbabwe bonds, but I believe they're real, right? But there's such huge volumes of money and wealth locked up in Zimbabwe that they're like Australia, they've got everything. They're a wealthy, wealthy country that they've just been run by absolute corruption. But what would you expect? You know, the cabal controlled that country for a very long time. So what I've done, and I'm in a fortunate position that, and I believe this was planned. I was put in a very good financial position by hard work so that I could take time off. So I pretty much haven't done any business work this year. I've been doing this full time, and it's a full-time job. I normally work most mornings till 1 o'clock. I get up at 4 o'clock, and I live this, and I've made connections all over the world so that I can get the good information. So what I've done is I've pretty much emptied the bank account. I've invested in precious metals, and I've bought cryptocurrency because the bank can't get your cryptocurrency. It's in a digital wallet, they don't have access to it. Now, I'm not saying that cryptocurrencies is a sure thing. I think Bitcoin sooner or later is going to go to zero. Bitcoin was started by the CIA so they could launder drug money and do human trafficking. It funds black operations. Forget about the data mining. Facebook and Twitter do more data mining than any of the secret services, the three-letter agencies in the world. They've got all the information. They've got all of our information. If you're on a device, they know exactly what you do, where you shop, where you travel, what your habits are, how can you buy fuel. It's all there. They've got a lot. So they know our habits, right? So they've got that. I believe precious metals will be secure because we can't maintain this fiat currency, which is backed by bullshit. And that's what it is. Our Reserve Bank just keeps, and Treasury, and just keep printing money to pay for the COVID spending. Our real wealth leaves this country through the corporations. We're in $5.8 trillion worth of debt to the banks, the global banks, the European banks. And Scott Morrison has signed a contract to give them that money from our resources. We've sold and leased our ports. Well, we gave them away to the CCP. Did anyone vote for that? The sale, the 99-year lease on the Port of Brisbane? Did Anastasia have a mandate to make that deal? She didn't. Do you know what a mandate is? Yeah, it's an offer to contract, right? She doesn't have any mandate from the people of Queensland. She never asked. She doesn't care about us. And that's the way she's been raised. From a child, she's been raised in this satanic cult. What do these people worship Satan? If they worship Satan, is there a God? 100%. It doesn't matter what we term God and how we think of God. Okay? But it's important that we recognize that there's greater power working in us. And that's what we need to focus on. I can tell you that I've got nothing but optimism. The stuff that we do, I should be dead. Because we've achieved a lot of this government. But I'm not, because I do. a couple of weeks ago, we had 2 police officers turn up at our house and they're easy to pick because they just drive like such losers. And look, I like the police, we need the police, and I'm not here to put the police down. I was at a police station today, my wife was giving evidence over some stuff that was happening. And I'm going to tell you that over 50% of coppers are good people. The top is completely and utterly corrupt. They're murderers, they're thieves, they run all the organised crime. That's the truth, right? But there's still lots and lots of good police officers. So these 2 coppers come up the driveway looking like they were lost. We're sitting out the front and he gets out the car and my son is a big guy, right? He's 2060 millimetres, so 6'9", 35 kilos, plays rugby union. He's his unit, so he's gone down to see these coppers. And I jumped out the car and I said, no, there's no trouble, there's no trouble. So, Brent, we've got seats up there, we'll sit down, we'll have a chat. So I spent the next 1 hour red pilling them. So I sat them down and I said, look, let's get straight to it. I know you're both vaccinated. I said, did you have any adverse reactions? And the older guy said, yeah, he said, I got sick, really sick for 3 days, so did my wife. I said, right, I'm going to give you the bad news. You got the real shock. And his younger partner, he said, I had no reaction whatsoever. And I said, you got the placebo. And so this guy wants to know what I know now, right? So I'm talking to him about that. And I said, listen, I'm going to tell you something. We know about the Northern Mafia in Brisbane because that's Crime Ops Brisbane, CIB, right? And that's what they call themselves, open Northern Mafia, right? They don't even try and hide it. I said, we know about that. We know about all your corrupt Masonic Mason bosses. I said, we know them all by name. We know who they are, what they do, which lodge they're members of. And he's like, oh, okay, like that. I said, listen, you guys should be investigating the government because the government is the ones that are breaking the law. I'm not breaking the law. I refuse to break the law. When we started this movement, we said we would be lawful, not legal, lawful. Because when you fully understand all the laws that Australia has signed and accepted, we've got a lot of scope. And that's going to come into play in the next 4 months. So we have the power to investigate. We have the power to arrest. When we call a police officer and say there's a crime being committed, we are ordering them to go and deal with it. That's the power we have as citizens. But because law is not educated with the people, they don't understand the powers that they have. So when people say no compliance, it really is no compliance. I volunteer at the Croatian Community Centre. We had a function there. 3 police turned up because there was a complaint. And so they wanted to come in and check everybody out. It's like, did you sign in with the QR code? I said, no, I don't need to. No, it's a law. I said, it's not a law, mate. And I had the Biosecurity Act there because I've been showing other people. And I said, read this, get educated, learn your job. Your job is to enforce the law and you don't know it. And he was an area commander and he didn't like it, right? And he's like, you're not wearing a mask. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to wear a mask. No such thing as COVID. They're all standing there with masks on like this. I said, mate, you look like you've been muzzled. I can't understand you. Take it off, will you? Oh. So he said, you look like you're a troublemaker. I said, yes, I'm a troublemaker because I know what I'm doing and you don't. So you need to listen to me because I'm never going to listen to you. So then I got 6 coppers, right? And he thought he was going to do better with 6 coppers, but he didn't because I wasn't angry with them. right? I wasn't frustrated with them. I just took the power that I had and I stood there calmly and I said, no, you're not going to tell me something that's not true. You guys need to do the research. They know what they're doing is wrong, right? We go to the rallies now that they've all been force vaccinated and we're dealing with a different police force. We're dealing for people who now associate and identify with the people they're supposed to protect. And they know what the government's done to them and they know it's wrong. All right, I thank you very much, guys. I really liked it. Thank you. Wow. What? Yeah? It's good, eh? Knowledge is power. I hope you learn it. The power that you be through learning, what is it you're going to do with it? Yeah? Just a simple question. Would you know if you have a veggie touch? Yeah, that's nearly most of you, right? Wow. Well done. That's the way. So when you grow your stuff, it's always good to do a surplus, right? Don't plant one tomato plant. Just let it spread out everywhere, you know? I have crazy thought in my head, you know, like just go out and plant random stuff everywhere, right? I know I went to Bali, and you go to Bali, you've got chickens everywhere. You've got purple trees everywhere. You've got coconut trees everywhere. You've got banana trees everywhere. Start planting stuff. We can eat. We can live off the land, right? Not only this, we don't use any pesticides. Edible weeds. I went to a survival camp. Wow, there's a lot. Dandelion. Good stuff. Copper's there. Now, there's a lot of food that you don't know all of that. It's weird, and you go, geez, damn, this weird. One day we might use them, right? Because they're just good in your salad, you know? The dandelion, you've got two types. You've got one that's got the furry leaf, and you've got one that's got the smooth leaf. The smooth leaf is good for your salad, yeah? The bees love those flowers. Yeah, get some honey. Sure. This is productive, isn't it? Yeah. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're going to act upon what you're going to do next. Stay tuned, don't go away yet because we've got 2 more speakers and then we're going to wrap it up at the end with some ideas. Cool? All right, Lena, come on down. Alina is a great colleague of mine. We share kind of the same profession and healing practice. So proud of that.
Hi everyone, my name is Helena and I work a few other teachers around Queensland Education United. So we are supporting all of the teachers and educators in Queensland who are very uncomfortable with the mandate. So on Friday, we have all been ordered to have our first shot. And I can tell you there are many of us who won't be. There are many who are holding the line very strong. We have some of our communities who live in department housing who are facing not only losing both their jobs, being ordered to pack up their home and pay for their own relocation expenses. And they are holding strong. We have teachers who are seeing this all the way through. We have teachers who do not know how they're going to put food on the table and are struggling with the decisions that they're about to face. We have teachers in all various situations, and it's heartbreaking and it's heart-opening to see all the different things that are playing out for teachers. And I feel very honoured and humble to be supporting them through this. We know that this is a spiritual awakening. And there are people who are struggling with their gut instinct and their head versus their heart. I'm seeing it play out on a daily basis. The gut is telling them one thing, and it takes a lot of courage to really listen to your gut instinct. 10 years ago, my husband received a phone call while driving to work. He was told to come home, pack a bag, head to hospital. The Royal Flying Doctors were transferring him to Townsville that night. He said, they want to check me into the oncology ward. And I went, that's cancer, right? And that was the beginning of this journey for us. We found ourselves in a ward where we were told that they had narrowed it down to 3 cancers, one he'd be okay, one not so okay, and one he'd die. It took 3 weeks for them to tell us which one it would be. He ended up with a blood cancer and a 6.4 by 2-inch tumour wrapping around his heart and his lungs. He's a big 6.5-foot guy. He couldn't walk properly, couldn't lie down, his lungs were filling with blood. That entire time, we had nothing but evidence that he was not going to be okay. Everything in front of us was telling us he was not going to be okay. But I knew with every ounce of my being that he would be okay. Couldn't explain it, but I knew. All through his treatment, there was one gentleman in the ward with him, and he kept saying to me, whatever he's doing, I'm not doing it. So we hit that point. We were in a room with 5 radiation staff telling us the next stage in his treatment. And my husband said, I'm not doing that. Doesn't feel right to me. Everything shifted. Everything shifted. We got bullied. We got told that if we didn't do what they wanted, he would die. We got told to stop wasting their time. We walked out of that room because he trusted his gut instinct. At times, we did not know what that next step would look like. But one thing I've learned is that when you follow your gut instinct, those doors will open, even when you can't see them. They do open. When we're in the oncology ward, we were blown away by the sheer number of people who said to us, oh, look, the doctors have said we need to do this, this, and this. It doesn't feel right, but I'm doing it because that's what the doctors have said. I'm hearing this echo throughout our community now. So there are a lot of teachers whose gut instinct and their head are in this massive battle, and we need to love and support them through this entire process. And I can tell you homeschooling in Queensland is definitely about to take off. There are some things that teachers are doing at the moment. And my view is we can attack this at multiple different levels. There's so many deep things that we can do, and there's lots of other things we can do. Some of the things that the teachers and educators are starting to do is as they're going for walks, they're using chalk and writing messages on the footpath. No talk, no talk, no way. No teacher mandates. Whatever message must be peaceful, lawful, and respectful, and it's so easy to do. I had my neighbour's son with me today. I took the boys for a walk. I took some chalk. We wrote some messages. It's so easy to do. And I can tell you how effective it is because one night, my husband came home and he said, babe, get in the car, I'm taking you for a drive. And we drove a few kilometres from our house, and right there, spray painted across the road was no jab, no job, no way. And I went, we're not alone. So this is a way that we can connect and be seen. Some of the other things that we are talking about is going in groups, in our shirts, to food courts. Sit there in groups for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Talk, be visual, let them see us. Those who are following the mainstream messages truly believe that now there's only less than 20% of us who have not given in us. I had this really powerful moment catching a train going into the very first Wednesday rally. I was with my dad, and a gentleman walked past and we saw his shirt, and we said, we're going where you're going. So he said, come and sit with us. Now, there was about 10 of us in this carriage, and we were all, chatting away, and the whole carriage was dead quiet. Everybody was listening to us. There were some very uncomfortable people in that carriage, and at one stop, a gentleman got up stopped between us and said, I agree with everything you're saying. Go to the end of the train line in groups. Get on a train and just talk. There's one thing we learn about working with children is that children learn more, not from what you say, but what you do and who you are. And these side door entries where they pick up on things that are happening around them, and that happens with adults too. So go in places and be seen. We're getting mixed messages about whether we're going to be banned from libraries, but if it happens, take a rug, a picnic blanket and some friends and go and set up a picnic blanket in front of the libraries with your books and read your books out there. Like, we're trying to come up with these ideas that get us visual and vocal so that we can be seen within our community. We're talking about standing along the road with signs, going and having picnics in different places. This is going to bring our community together and work together and be a support network for each other, because so many people are so isolated. Now to the parents. Teachers cannot do this on their own. We simply cannot, because we know once they've gotten rid of us, we know who's next. We know who they're coming after next. Parents have got to get vocal and active and find their voice on behalf of their children. Write to your school, write to your principals, write to the education department and the minister. Make meetings, go in groups. You need to start getting your voice out there to these people, because we know what's coming to schools. We must be a squeaky wheel. We need to write notices of non-consent to our schools. We need to look for alternatives like homeschooling and other options. And there are many, many teachers who are going to be looking for work next year. So these are just some of the small things that we can do. But courage breeds courage. And for a lot of people, they're still quite nervous about being seen. So when they see us being courageous, it gives them permission to be courageous too. The teachers are working with Red Union at the moment. This is our first step. The Red Union is an organisation in Brisbane. They have multiple facets to their union. I know they're looking at setting up a small business wing to their branch. We started with risk assessments. That's our first step, but we're working forward as to what we do next. And I guess the final thing that I want to say is that if we want to teach our children to stand up peacefully and respectfully with sovereignty, we need to live and breathe that as well. And I can only begin to imagine the impact it's going to have on our children when they see us living and breathing sovereignty. So thank you.
Cool. Breathing and relax. Settle into your body. That was awesome. A lot of things happened. I can feel the energy. Speaker, ready? Come out from the wall. That's right.
I like to be with you guys. Well, we've had some amazing speakers tonight, and I really appreciate their hearts and what they've shared with us. And the most beautiful thing is the synergy. We are all on the same page, and we are all wanting the same result. So we've heard some suggestions, and I'm just going to share with you some of the things we've been doing on the Gold Coast, which can help what you're needing to do up here. So part of what we've done on the Gold Coast is I have set up a web page that is not just, common law. And the reason that I started common law was because I could see it was the future of the justice system that we need and we deserve, because it is done of law of the land and tribal law and the law of God. That is our future. And out of that, has a community has sprung up out of that, where we have been in full flight and full action. So I'm going to share with you some of the action that we've been taking. And we've got some incredible people in it that have on and created different letter writing parties where we've been doing cease and desist letters that some of you already know about. And we have been writing them in the thousands. And they have been causing impact because people are talking about them. And the other part of the cease and desist letter is that we're going to hold them accountable on the other side of this, because there is another side of this. We will get to the other side of this, and we will win this. Every politician that has coerced or stood back on the sideline and not stood up for the people accountable, and they will be held accountable, yeah? So if you're wondering who I am, let me tell you this. I'm a mum, but I'm not just a mum. I'm a mum that has a fire that burns in her bones with what is happening to this nation at the moment. It has burned from the moment that they mentioned COVID that I knew that something was very wrong. And I stood up and said, I want to start something that will help others. And that is how the community has started. Because I didn't want anybody to feel that they were alone, that they were thinking outside the box, but then thinking no one else was thinking that way as well. Yeah? And that's why you're all here. Because we're all thinking the same thing. And we all want the same thing. Yes, we are in an awakening. And it's an incredible move that's happening because truth has been released, not only in this nation, but upon the earth. And the truth that's been released will reveal all the things that are hidden. And that's exactly what's happening. Everyone that's a pedophile or a crook or a cabal, a Luciferian or a Rothschild, and name the rest, you know what I'm talking about, will be revealed. They will be exposed. I want to touch on the political side of things, because all of a sudden politicians are starting to step up again. They are not the answer because they're already employed by the government, and the government is the corporation. There is no division there, people. So when they stand up and go, you know, wait till the 4th of March to vote, I say bullshit. And I say, I'm not waiting any longer. What about you? We are not waiting any longer. You have the power to change everything. Every single one of you has God DNA resonating and pumping through your veins. If you have empathy, if you care for another person, that is God DNA. And you are sovereign by design. That means we have authority to rise up and stand up in this season that calls for extraordinary people. And I'm looking at 200 of you here right now. Sorry, I wasn't good at math. Because not only am I looking at what I can see, I'm looking what I can't see. Because in the unseen, there is more for us than there is against it. And that's why I know that we win this. And we have already won this. So let me throw out some suggestions, because this is what we have put together, yeah? We are on our webpage, we've set up a business directory. And all those that don't want to follow through are on there. So us who don't want to follow through know where to go and shop.
We need to boycott all big companies and support the small businesses. Small businesses who are shutting your doors, go and set up at home. Set up in your garage and then go this to the regulation because you don't come under it anymore. You're a hobby farm type of person or a hobby business, right? We've got to think outside of the box. There are so many ways to get around the crap that they are dishing out at us. We set up a hill meet, which is where the public can find practitioners behind the back door. Yes. Not only that, we have set up a membership private for practitioners to be a part of. That then you, the public, can access. You got to start thinking out of the box, people. Seriously, we need to break the friggin' box that we have been put under for a very long time. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to be really bold. I actually don't agree when people say it's our fault that we're in this mess. We have been hoodwinked for centuries, and we are now waking up to the truth, and we are going to scream it from the mountaintops that we will not consent, we will not contract, and we will not do what you want us to do because we are free, we are sovereign, we are alive, we are breathing, and we're the ones that are going to declare how we want to live, and our children's children want to live, and our great children want to live. Yes? So in this room tonight, there are powerful people, every single one of you. Do not surrender to the fear because that is just not part of the equation. That's where they want you. The conversations are constantly peddling fear. What if I get a fine? What if this happens? What if the police come? What if they come and take me? Bring it on, I say, because I'll meet you at court and I'll tell you where you can shove your fine because they don't even stand up in court. And that is a fact. BHP is not mandating their employees. They're not. They lost court. Who lost in court? BHP. That's right. Because they have qualified staff that cannot just walk in off the street or across the waters. I tell you what's going to happen, people. Everything's going to collapse. The police are walking out. The nurses are walking out. The doctors are walking out. The teachers are walking out. The students are walking out. The politicians are walking out because they're crapping their pants. Did I leave anything out? The media? They're going to be hanging from their toes by the time this is finished for all the lies. Turn off the TV. That means they've walked out as well, yeah? So, here we have a room full of people. It's up to you. Every single one of you can bring a change because you are the change. You're the change because you're awake. You're a change because you know that this is not right. And everything within inside of you says that. There is so much injustice happening right now, and we are at war, and we are having casualties of war. And my heart right from the beginning was, I'm going to save as many as I can from the lies and the tyranny that's been poured out upon us. And that is every single one of our jobs. Every single one of you. And if you're sitting there going, well, I don't know what I can do. If you've got a neighbour, you go share with your neighbour. Have a cup of tea with them. Show them some love, because right now the currency of love is what's going to defeat this. We can't come in there angry. We've got to come in there with a totally different spirit. And that's how we turn this over. We're going to have people that are double jabbed that have got buyer's remorse. Going, shit, I didn't know I'm going to have another 12 of them. Some of them go, oh, you're going to travel. Well, you can't leave the country anyway. Like, hello? Is there anyone up there? And this is part of the boxes that need to be broken. We're so programmed, people. We are so programmed. We go, oh, we can't do that, we can't do that. Who says? Who says? Now, I've got a confession. I got to be really honest with you guys. I never really fit in this world in the first place. I've been a black sheep for the last 10 years. I've never been in any boxes. And I finally belong. Because we're the ones who are awake. And I just go, this is really cool. I've waited 63 years to get here. And I finally arrived. And I'm meeting incredible people on the way. And not only incredible, people that my heart resonate with. My spirit just goes, oh, I know you. Who else is having that? It's the like-minded. But see, when you're like-minded, there's joined up. Man, I look at you, sweetheart, A1. We're all crazy together. I go, I do really well. And you know what? I fought for my. Because I knew that they were born to be who they were meant to be. And school's going, oh, you might have a good ADD. No, he's a pocket rocket that wants to fly. And I'm going to let him. Now, we used to be in the playground and the parents would go, oh my gosh, you're so up the tree. I go, oh, Jace, can you go higher? We got to snap out of the fear and the tentacles that hold us. Right here, right now, is birthing the most incredible community that Caboolture has ever seen. Now, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to go home and go, well, that's nice for me? That baby was a bit crappy. I like that. We need to support one another. Start communicating. If the police comes to your place, have an SOS where 20 people come. Come on. We have that. I go now, look, I'll be honest, we hold a meeting every Friday night. We had over 300 people. Now, can I let you know a secret? I blocked out all the windows. All through COVID, we've run all through COVID. We haven't stopped one meeting, blocked out all the windows. And then we close the door. And I go, now, if the police come, we're a suicide prevention. And I can't let them in. I can't let them in because I'm protecting their identity. We're going to think outside the box, be creative. If there's a little line there or not, don't worry about it. Right? They're lying the shit to us every day. We've got to break the confusion. We've got to make a stand. You need to get a resolute in your heart of the stand that you are taking, the stand that you are making, and be it united together. Now, don't leave it to just a few people, you know, oh, yeah, they'll do it. Because that's the very thing we have to break out of. I'm going to get political here for a minute. Ricardo Bossi, not a politician. The party is not registered. That's a bloody good thing. That's a great thing. So, this is how I see it, and I've been saying this for 8 months. We, the people, start taking positions. Start gathering in the different divisions that you have. Start rallying around each other. Find someone that's got integrity, honour, and the people's heart. They carry the heart for the people, and you take position. Take position. We need to learn the power of our votes. We need to learn how to overturn the government. We do not want the Liberals or the Labors or the Greens. We need independent parties to rise up that are on the same page. And that is only going to happen if we the people take place. Take position. Take ground. Take ground. And if you've got an ego or self-agenda, do not bother applying. Because once upon a time, a political position was for the people. It was a long time ago. We haven't had that for a very long time. But it was for the people. You were there to serve the people. We have not seen that for a very, very long time. And that is part of the awakening. We're coming back into integrity and honour and right relationship, where we actually care about our neighbour more than we care about ourselves, where we're prepared to go and give them a hand, cook them a meal, hand them the money. Those are we can't have any of those people coming into the news because they're compromised. And they're toxic, the lady said. So we've got to start afresh over here. So this is where we go, what kind of world do you want? It's a big question to ask yourself. What kind of world do you want? But what does a free world look like? So you got to ask yourself questions. Now let me just say something. When you're the one asking the question, it actually you're saying is as king. Did you hear that? Asking the question is as king. Let me show you how that works. I won't speak too long, sorry. Just really quick. Policeman comes up to you, they ask you the question, don't they? So you then turn around and you start asking them the question. You then stay in control. As Tane was sharing, that's when you're the predator, because you're asking the question. As a king, that's your position. What's your name? Or what's your name? Come on, you have fun with it. I've sat and spoken to the police. They go, sweetheart, when I take, probably sweetheart. And they go, when we take our uniform off, we're on that side. There are a lot of good policemen out there. And they hate what they have to do. So we've got to treat them with integrity. Give them a chance to cross over because they want to. You know what? They could be our sheriffs in the next couple of months. Yeah? So you know what? I just want to say, you know, all the speakers, we're all on the same page. And I actually find this really incredible that tonight, with all the speakers, that we're probably the first ones out of different movements, right, that have actually stood together on the stage together. Because a lot of them won't. Their egos are in the way. We need multiple movements. We cannot come under one banner, because if we come under one banner, we become centralised again. We need to be decentralised, because the flavour of Mick is different to the flavour of me, and the flavour of me is different to the flavour of A1, but we're all working together for the same job, because people power is people with one action united, and that's what makes the difference.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know about you, but did you feel that they're all talking the same language, right? There's a thread that is happening there. They have the same thread, okay? I don't mind who you're joining together. As long as you do something, it's better than nothing. Okay? Do something, it's better than nothing. You know, there's a lot of things happening on the 17th and the 18th. There's the rally, Tricky Treaty, right? Musgrave Park, big party there. There's a few things happening. Gather around, have parties. This is a special time. It's a season. Christmas, right? We do have to follow this tradition and gather around and share the love. And at the same time, we have to be proactive. We have to do things. Okay? Coming up, Nick.
Follow on from the last speaker, actually. But we're a young assembly and new assembly in Gibraltar. And common law, I guess the first rule of common law really struck me, got my attention, was do no harm. Do no harm. It's about self-responsibility is how I read it. It's not about what individual rights. It's about individual accountability. And when you sort of reclaim you reclaim that responsibility, you're reclaiming your rights, like being responsible, not blaming someone else for your situation or whatever. So on a practical note, I say we're a young assembly, we're new, and we welcome and encourage and want participation. Come and see us. We have an assembly this Sunday at Centenary Lakes, Caboolture. We normally hold fortnightly assemblies. Yeah, fourth meeting as such. We're, like I say, a young assembly. We're having another one this week as our last one for the year. But we've actually, on the note, we actually have a lot of printed off cease and desist letters that are specifically addressed to teachers, pharmacists, doctors, police officers. Please come and help yourselves. Take what you think you need and what you want to write. They're already preset. You just need to put your name on it or who you're addressing it to, sign it at the bottom. It spells out the basics there. They are the cease and desist sort of copy letters that people are sending and forwarding. So like I say, with everyone, as she says, if we're going to start doing this, sending, notifying, because it comes down to like, you know, when Germans were held in trials after the war, it was the records. It was the records kept you convicted. You know, it's like at the moment where we know our governments have abused the trust and neglected their office, and if held to account later on, you know, they can say, oh, well, we don't know what the public says, well, they know we know that it's on record, our views, you know, our rejection, and the letters, you know, it's all in black and white, you know, when they've been reminded that they're breaking the law individually, personally, they're held accountable, not with the school board behind them, not with the police force behind them, but as individuals. You know, like as we know, like I say, the letters are there. Help yourselves, please. The ladies, numerous ladies have spent a lot of time and work printing them off, getting together, tasting the inks, all the rest of it, and specifically to get them out there for you people. Like, please, like, don't be shy. Take what you think you need. There's business packs as well. We're basically, our strategy was to approach businesses on the same page. You know, we don't want to focus on targeting difficult businesses at this point. We'd rather get behind and support the businesses you know, that are on the same page and wanting to, you know, serve all and be part of the whole community, wanting to reject the impositions, basically. So it's about going and informing them and enabling them, basically, was the idea. And we've just realised and discussed amongst ourselves, we actually want to do a follow-up on every business where we've been sharing this to follow up and let them know as we learn more news as well, and we'll have more advice and you know, directions to go. And it's also, it helps like put that glue in the bond. You know, you get that follow-up, that connection. So that's, as we all know, it's relationships, you know, fostering any relationship, whether it's with your partners, your children, your butcher, your baker. It's harder for the government to come between existing relationships.
What time Sunday?
All right, so Sunday we have stand in the park at 10, and usually it's at 11:30. So we organize that, so we have the stand in the park where we support ourselves as a community, and then after that, usually at 11:30 is the Common Law for Earth, right? Get involved and look at the other thing, you know, the Australian project, Common Law Earth. Look at all the different platforms, groups. Some of them have they're putting in place where they have a website where they already have in place where, okay, if you are in education, you go there. If you are with the health, you go there. They have different platforms to go there and start getting the people so you can go where to go. To create job and to create also awareness and to create support. Another site that's really good to look at is Queensland Health Practitioners Alliance, right? So that's a good one to check it out .org. Okay, so if you're in health, just go and support that. If you have a bit of extra cash, maybe to support them, support them. Okay, so we have to do things. Okay. From the bottom of my heart, it's been amazing. And I hope I see you at Stand Apart. I hope I see you at some of the rallies, supporting each other. Actually, let's put a song. One song to bring ourselves together as a unit. So I'm going to ask you to put your one hand onto someone's shoulder and the other hand onto someone's shoulder. Connect like a web. Like a web.
Leave it on.
Like a web. Yeah? A web of love. Right? Oh, you all know the song, right? Yeah. Sing along, come on. Bring the spirit in. We are wise. We know that there's always tomorrow. We are and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm gonna be somebody to lean on. Please follow your path. Even happy, you need to borrow. No one can be those that you need, that you won't let go. It's all only brother. You need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Problem. You understand. We all need somebody to lean on. You feel like it's safe. All right, the next thing I want you to do is connect with some at least 3 people you don't know here. Right? At least 3 people you don't know here. Connect with them. Right? Go and do this now and then gently packing up and go on your way home, and I'll see you on Sunday, hopefully Stand in the Park. See you guys.
Awesome. So I'm just filming because they're coming back now. Right. Oh shit. Okay, guys. Look, I really apologise. I'm just announced like they're going to be about 5 minutes away. The ladies have just left for the box. I couldn't believe it. I'm just what the hell? I've just told the whole lot.